All right. So, hi, everyone. I am Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo, or Siris Rivas for short. And we're here for the Taste of Awakening workshop, where we're going to talk about communication and self-care and bodies and yumminess and a lot of good stuff, And I want to make sure that y'all are getting what you would like out of this, because each time we do a Taste of Awakening workshop, it's very different. The people who come to it, their questions, their energy, what's going on in their lives really affect what we talk about, where we go, and how deeply we go into this. So I definitely want to make sure that as y'all are sitting, getting comfortable, you're looking at your screens, you're hearing my voice, that you'll realize that the more that you're engaged, you ask questions, you're willing to be vulnerable with this, the more you're going to get out of this workshop. So if you're kind of like waiting to test me or to see how this works, like, I don't need to prove anything. I'm just going to share some of these tools. It's up to you if you would like to use them or not. I've had hundreds of people benefit from this, and I'm sure there'll be hundreds more. That's the target, right? So the more that you really engage and play around with this, the more that you connect with your bodies and really perceive the energy of what we're talking about and what you'd like to create using these tools and that I'm really discussing today, the more you are going to get what you like. Okay, so you get to decide. You're the driver's seat of your life, and including of this workshop. There's going to be multiple drivers here, but we're all going to co-create something beautiful together. I just know it. So I am going to tell you a little bit about myself, and we're going to talk about what we're going to cover, a little overview, and then we're going to dive in, because we have an hour together to really explore some different energies and to see if we can have more clarity and connection with our bodies, more greater perception as well. Like, a lot of people come to me and they're really disconnected with their bodies. Sometimes, or they're too connected. They're like, I'm getting so much information and input, it's a lot. I had a moment like that earlier today where I was like, I'm going to go in a cave, I'm going to turn off the lights, I'm going to do a reset, because I'm getting a lot of information. And a lot of the information was all the things that I think were queuing up for this workshop, that I was like, okay, all of y'all stuff was coming in to talk to me, and my body was picking up on it. And instead of shutting it down, I just did a reset, a pause, breathe through it. And I used these very tools that we're going to play around with today to be like, all right, I'm back, I'm awake, I'm ready to go, let's do this. All right, so if you're looking for some of that, we're going to definitely talk about that today. Now, I am a speech and language pathologist. I am a body relationship coach. What does that mean? Maybe you haven't heard of that before. A body relationship coach is someone who communicates with your body and also empowers you to connect with your body, and if you'd like, other people's bodies, so that you can create a more phenomenal life that actually connects with what you would really like to have, instead of you creating a life based on like other people's expectations, what they would want from you, what you've been told you should want. That often puts you in a box of other people's parameters, instead of something that really gets you lit up and excited about your life. Like, oh my gosh, I get to live this life. Yay! Awesome. So excited. So this is one of the things that I do. And then I'm also a learning and behavioral specialist. So I look at how people learn, how they process information, how they express themselves, and how their behavior informs who they are, and gives me this data about who they are, and also possibly who they would like to be instead. Because if you have a certain current behavior, that's not permanent. It's just what's showing up right now. And then if it's something that you don't want to do anymore, maybe some limiting patterns, some things that you keep looping on over and over again, well, then we have to look for a replacement behavior, something that is going to go in its place, that's going to create more for you, that's going to be maybe more effective, more joyful, a little bit easier, some of those things. So that's a little bit about me professionally. I can talk a lot about how things led to where we're going to be talking, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit, because this is also a taste of the awakening class. which is a class that I created where people get to learn the living and dying body process. The living and dying body process is an energetic body process that uses different energies that awaken the different energies within your body so that you are more connected with your body, that you're clear on the messages that you receive, you have more energy, you're more enthusiastic about living, and you get to be very clear on what you need to let go of to create more, and what things, people, jobs, money, whatever that you'd like to add to create more. So it's about what you add, and it's also about what you let go of. And both are involved with living. You have to be willing to do both to really have the life that you'd really like to have, to really do this self-care that we're going to be talking about today. So with self-care, there's certain things that you're going to want to add, perhaps some of these tools and questions that we're going to talk about today. And there might be some things that as we're playing around with these energies, you might get some ahas, some awareness of, oh, I really need to not do this anymore. I really need to let go of this pattern, these people, this job, this relationship. For each of us, it's going to be different. We are different people. We are living different lives, and we want different things out of what we're doing here on this beautiful planet. Okay. But by the time that we're done with this workshop, you're going to be able to connect with your body a lot more and get information from it more clearly. Okay. You're going to know some key words and some questions that you can use so that you can care for yourself more. All right. And you're going to know some simple movements that we're going to use to awaken these energies in your body, this part of the living and dying body process. And then we're going to open doors together to receiving more joy and more clarity. So you'll notice by the end of this time that your body will soften. If you're really in touch with this and willing to get out of your head and be with your body and these energies, there'll be this softness that shows up that may come in handy if there are some situations or some people where you'd like a little bit more of that relaxation, that ease, that you're not so contracted and tight about it, that you can be like, okay, yes, this instead. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. First, if you're here and you're ready, go ahead and put I'm ready in the chat. I'm ready to do this thing, because there's no have-tos with this. There's no have-tos with life. But if you're really to get ready to go on this road, this journey with us, I'm ready to empower you and talk about some of this. And we're going to get some very clear tools so that you can have this. Awesome. We are ready. Excellent. Okay. So first, let's ask the question to ourselves. I'm curious, because for everybody, it's a little bit different. What does self-care mean to you? You can go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm going to tell you some things that some other people have told me, clients over the years as well. I provide private sessions of this living and dying body process that we're going to be playing with today. And I also teach the classes so people can have the whole shebang, all of the movements, all of the energies, all of these questions and manual to learn this and really be practitioners and use this to go about creating really awesome lives. But when I talk to people about self-care, it's really interesting. A lot of people have this perception that self-care is all these things you do. And it can be that. But more than anything, it's about how you value yourself. Okay? So how is it that you're valuing yourself? What are the choices that you're making? And are the choices that you're making indicative of a self-worth that is what you'd like it to be? Does it match? I love this comment in the chat already. Self-care is taking care of one's needs emotionally, mentally, and physically before those of others. And self-respect, that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. I love it. You're already ahead of the game. Self-respect. I'm going to put that in bold. These are one of those key words that we can actually use to motivate us to move toward in the direction of us doing more effective self-care and more continuous self-care. Because for a lot of us, and certainly the people that come to me for coaching and things like that, they know what to do. They know, hey, when I get movement and when I listen to my body, oh, it feels so much better. Are they doing it on a regular basis? There is people who are like, oh, when I eat these certain foods, I feel really good. I have more energy. I'm digesting things properly. I'm getting better sleep because it's not like making me all buzzy. And so they know these different things to do. Oh, when I talk to this person, I feel horrible. When I talk to this other friend, I feel like there's more possible. I feel more hopeful. But instead of talking to those kind of people and friends more continuously, they choose a lot of people that might be dragging them down, some energy vampires, right? Those kinds of things. So it's about, yeah, self-respect and self-worth, bringing joy to your life in some way. Yes, that really gets to the basics. So you get to choose what you bring into your world, what you're around, the vibrations you're around, so that you can have that, either more of that and it be really nurturing and yummy for your body, or it could be something that's like a banging up against your body and it's bruising it up. And you're wondering, well, why? Of course I'm tired. Like, what's making me so grumpy and sore and feeling like I'm all like, oh, tight? Well, maybe it's some of these people or these situations that you're putting yourself in. Okay. Yeah, I see your message. Yes. Okay, cool. The other piece with, so there's the self-worth and the self-respect. Here, let me put this a little bit here. There we go. There's self-worth and self-respect. There's this sense of joy that I love that you do that. And one of the things that I would like for all of us to do today, I'm glad that you brought this up, because I don't always bring it up in all of the Taste of Awakening workshops. But since you brought this up, this is where we're going to go, is for each of us, come up with at least 3 things to start with that bring you joy, that have nothing to do with anybody else, that you don't require someone else's presence for you to find it joyful. Okay? So what are 3 things that bring you joy? And I actually help people look at this, because for a lot of people, especially for people who really need self-care, the givers, the healers, people who are first responders, the people who that's who are called during an emergency or crisis, the people who are really looking and thinking of other people before themselves, the flip of what you said, right, earlier. Yes. Okay, music and nature and your animals. Yeah. I'll try to find one that is not your animals, because that's still something other than you. Animals are entities and beings as well. So I love the music because you don't need anybody else. The nature, you don't need anybody else. This is really a challenge to you, a little bit of a nudge for you to look at, if it doesn't really involve other people's bodies, including animal bodies, the fur babies, then what would that be? And it's not because it's not valuable to look at that. It's like, it's to make sure that we're not making that contingencies, that we actually have more flexibility in how we can find joy. So I actually help people come up with their joy list as I work with them, because a lot of people, when you ask them what brings you joy that has nothing to do with anyone else, maybe they can come up with 1, 2, 5 things initially, but I have at least 50. Could you come up with at least 50 things that have nothing to do with helping someone, giving to someone, volunteering, interacting with somebody else? And I'm a social person. I love being around people. Don't get me wrong. If I added the people and body related stuff by other people's bodies, it would be like in the hundreds for sure. But one of the things I challenged myself to do is to look at 50 things at least, and I'm just starting with 3 with y'all, but 50 things that brought me joy that didn't require anybody else, so that I can pick and choose it at any given moment. When we're in isolation and quarantine, when we're traveling on our own, when we are not feeling so great and we're stuck in our homes and we're not feeling 100%, well, we could still pick and choose one of these 50 things that could tweak it just a little bit, open the door, just even if it's 1%, and then get that wedge open and maybe it starts cracking open even more so we could have more ease and more joy. Yes. What's in your joy list? All right, I'm seeing the comments in the chat. Let me go ahead and read that. I love it. Y'all are asking for a lot and wanting to get a lot from this workshop. I appreciate that. Doing visual art, scuba diving, eating my favorite foods. Yum. I'm a food fiend. I love that. Eating PB. I'm guessing that's peanut butter and chocolate ice cream. That could be a couple of things. I could come up with about 30. That's great. That is so great to hear. Yes. All right. So then the food nurturing. Now, all of these things involve our bodies at the end of the day. So do you get how if you're willing to be more in touch with your body, you could probably come up with that 50 even faster? You could get that information from your body in a clear way and then get to experience it with your body, receive it with your body, and maybe add some more pleasure and contentment and nurturing to your world. Yeah. You know what? And it's not to compare. Like this is great for you to say, oh, I have to work on this. This is where we're starting. When I gave myself this challenge, I probably had maybe 5 to 10, because everything that I had identified as bringing me joy required other people. I needed to be around other people to feel comfortable. I never wanted to be by myself. I wasn't comfortable with my own self. Like just like couldn't really like be by myself without being like, yeah, oh my gosh, where what else is the next party? Where's the next gathering? Where's the next potluck game night? When's, what's going on? And so then I would do a lot of filling in that space with crisis management and problem solving and needy people and abusive people and people who had addictions and all these different things. And very quickly that created not so great things like a lot of resentment and bitterness and stress and illness. And on all levels, I had the mental, emotional, I had the physical, muscular, skeletal. I was in a lot of pain. So don't recommend that. Glad you identified it, because I've been there. And that's the first step is, okay, this is something I'd like to work on. You're here, you're making the demand of yourself, and we're going to give you some tools to work on this. And for all of us, we can always add more to our joy list. And our joy list is going to evolve and shift over time, because we are evolving and shifting over time. My joy list now is completely different. Okay, actually, let me see. Yeah, it's really different now compared to the first time I got to that 50. It's kind of a stretch, right? It's kind of like, can I get there? Can I get there? And it was kind of like almost making some stuff up and then be like, is this really true? Is this really what's going to work for me? And then as I got that information, tinkered around and played around with it, I realized, oh, some of these are yes still, and some of them are not going to work anymore. All right. So what are the areas of your life that would benefit from you caring for yourself better? Let's cue this up and really acknowledge this. Because like I said, for all of us, there is something that we can improve. I know it is for me. I'd love to play around with having more ease with business and having this continuity of the people that I work with and collaborate with, of clients that I'd like to reach out with. I definitely, as much as I do relationship coaching, I love exploring and learning more about myself within relationships. With health, like I have really good health. I take it very seriously. And yet I'm still learning about all these different ways that self-care and health, all of the kinds of health, can intersect. And then when I see this in other people, it gives me these ahas for myself and where I can maybe add some more tweaks and keep improving. All right. So we're all growing and looking at this. So for you, what are the areas of your life that would benefit from you caring for yourself better, for you having this greater connection with your body that we're going to be exploring today. And then we're going to go into, in like 30 seconds, I'm going to wait for some of the comments in here. We're going to go and start exploring our first exercise. Okay, there's messages, people registering, I tell you. All right. Okay. Some great comments in the chat. Thank you. All right, let's see. My career, relationships, my health, both mental and physical. I hear you. Caring for myself, but by not caring more about other people than myself, you know, and part of it, you know, my Choosing It All Your Way coaching program, part of what I did when I created that is I looked at all these different limiting patterns that I was functioning from and I used to function from, and then all these exercises and things that I used to pull myself out of that and not having those limiting patterns running, like they were like the driving force for my life. And then one of those things that I realized was going on was I felt that if I chose me and took care of me first, that I was choosing against other people. Have any of you ever had something like that be relevant to you? Where you're like, is it me? Is it them? What's going on here? It's like, what if it wasn't you or them? What if it's you and them? That you don't have to be choosing between you and your other people. And when you care for yourself and you have more energy and you have more clarity, you are more you, then you are actually going to be more effective in supporting and caring for other people. When you're running on fumes, when you're really stressed and you're like, like a chicken with your head cut off, how does that affect the quality of the care that you can provide to other people? Okay, so something to consider. All right, so let's go into our first exercise. So what we're going to do is, if you can, wherever you are, I recommend standing up, and I'm going to model this. We're going to stand up and there we go. Okay, cool. And we're going to have our knees soft, so we're not going to lock our knees. There we go. You can see me better. We're not going to lock our knees. And close your eyes. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a yes and no with our bodies. And for each of us, it's going to show up a bit differently. But as we're doing this, we're going to do this a couple of times. It'll be easier and clearer each time. So soft knees, and ask your body, what's our yes today? And see what movement, what sensation, what words, sounds, feelings, smells, tastes. Maybe there's a stillness. What awareness shows up for you when you ask that question? Okay, and then ask, body, what's our no today? And see what that is. Maybe there's a heaviness, a contraction, moving back or forward, side to side. Smell, taste, sound, what's feelings are showing up. All right, we're gonna let all that go. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Okay, now let's do it again. Eyes closed, soft knees. And we do soft knees because sometimes we'll lock our knees and then it makes it hard for us to get the information because we're contracted. So anything that is tight in your body right now, go ahead and soften it. Breathe it all out. And with your eyes closed, go ahead and ask again, body, what's our yes today? Body, what's our no today? All right. If you have a clear yes and no, go ahead and say, I got it in the chat. And if you don't, say, I don't got it, because there's a couple other ways we can access the yes and no if you didn't get it from what we just did. Okay. All right, go you. Awesome. Who else? All right, I'm guessing for the rest of you, it might be a little tricky. So part of it that we're going to do is go ahead and give your body a couple of squeezes. All right, if we're getting in our heads and we're trying to analyze it, we're trying to anticipate how it's going to show up instead of being really present with how it's showing up, that undermines your being able to do this. All right, so go ahead and give your body a couple of hugs, a couple of squeezes, so you're really in touch with your body and out of your head. We're going to go ahead and let anything that doesn't allow you to have this clearly your way, because it's going to be different for you than for me. I'm not even going to tell you how it showed up for me today because it's different. And we can, if other people want to share how it showed up for them, we can talk about it in a little bit. But let's go ahead and connect and pour anything out of our bodies that doesn't allow us to have this clearly. And also go ahead and pull energy from me. So from behind me, through my body, toward your body. And this is the energy of you having this clearly and strongly. So we're going to ramp up the volume. All right. Remember we said that as you're doing this, each time it's going to get louder and clearer. Well, this is one of those ways that it can do that. So if you go ahead and pull energy from behind me, through me, and through you, you'll be like, oh, this is how it is to have it louder and clearer with my body. Let's do that. And then close your eyes, soft knees. Body, what's our yes today? Notice that it's a little bit louder now. And remember, no movement or a stillness can be one of your yeses or nos at any given moment. Shake it off. Body, what's our no today? Wow, it actually changed on me since the first time we did it. Cool. Yeah. All right, shake it off, shake it off. Now go ahead and open the crown, pouring energy out the top of your head. Hi, welcome. I see that you're here on as well. We're doing our first exercise here. We're getting a clear yes and no with our bodies. So I'm going to do that first one more time where you have soft knees, eyes closed. Asking your body, what's our yes today? Body, what's our no today? Okay. All right. Okay, now you got it that time. You just had to ramp up the energy. So that's the other thing. Some other people, this is one of those key things when we're talking about what are some of the movements of the self-care. So if you're not getting the clear yes and no, it's not loud enough yet, that means you need to add more energy, right? And we're going to be learning other ways in a little bit, maybe in like the next 2 to 3 minutes, we're going to start talking about the other ways you can add more energy. But just like those energy flows we just talked about where we ramp it up, that makes that yes and no clear, because that yes and no is such a key thing to be able to use every day, all day long for anything related to your body. Anything you're eating, people that you're around, where you're going to go or not, what job you're going to take or not, are you going to go on this date or not? Ask this yes and no with your body, because if you get a yes and then you choose what's a yes, you're going to get more of those things that make you go, yay, joy. And then those things that are no, if you choose the things that are no, you go against that no. It's called anti-consciousness. You're going against your consciousness, against your awareness. Well, then you're going to get more of that heavy, more of the things that are, oh, this is so no. Well, how did I even get here? How'd you get there? Because you chose the no. You chose what it was already heavy that you knew was going to be heavy before you chose it. And then you're surprised when it's heavy when you get there. What? We've all done it. I know I've done it. It's not about never doing it. It's about doing it less and less over time. Okay. And give yourself some slack. All right. Did everyone get the yes and no that time? Should we do it one more time? If you'd like it one more time, go ahead and put in the chat one more time, or you can say, I got it. I see a couple of I got it. That wasn't grammatical, but I'm going to let it go. I got it. All right, cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and do one last round of this, and then we're going to move on to our next exercise. So now let's see if we can get it even stronger and clearer. And actually, for those of you that already have the yes and no, go ahead and practice and apply it to some of this area of your life. So let's say for some of you, we're talking about relationships. You'd be like, all right, consider a relationship in your life. Let's say I'm going to bring up somebody's name, Julia. All right, my friend Julia. Should I go visit my friend Julia? Do you get the yes or do you get the no? So start asking this as I'm doing one more round. If you'd like to go ahead to the next thing, go ahead and do that. You don't need to wait for anyone, including me. And soft knees, eyes closed. Ramp up the energy. So the other way you can flow more energy if you don't have another body around is pull energy from the earth through your feet into your body. There you go. We're so connected to the earth, and the earth is just waiting to contribute to us. That also raises the volume up. Make sure you have even more juicy woosy to get that clear yes and no. Body, what's our yes today? Soft knees. Body, what's our no today? I love it. I'm picking up on so many different yeses and nos. This is so cool. I love it. All right. Okay. Does everyone have their yes or no? Does everyone feel comfortable with that exercise? If not, no worries. Keep practicing. I just knocked my phone over. No worries. Keep practicing. We are going to do some more things that would contribute if that one didn't work for you. So this is a buffet of different tools. But this whole idea of pulling energy from other bodies is one of the ways that we can do self-care. So anytime that I'm kind of feeling dragged down, I will, one, be very particular about the bodies that I'm around. And then two, I can ask for their bodies to contribute to my body, knowing that by me flowing energy from behind them, through them to me and out, and then the way back, I'm actually going to give them more energy too. I'm giving them more ease with their body, relaxation. So it's not like I'm just taking. It's an energy flow. It's not an energy take. Okay. So in case you're kind of wondering, is that okay for me to do that? It really is. It's actually a gift and a kindness to do that for you and for them. All right. And then the other thing we talked about was pulling energy or flowing energy from the earth. And for a lot of this, that's part of why nature, and some of you had mentioned it earlier, why you like doing nature walks and things like that as part of your self-care. That's part of how nature contributes to us so beautifully, because it's just so eager and willing to flow energy to us. And for whatever reason, sometimes we don't think to do it unless we're in a forest on a hike or by the beach, but we can do it in our offices. We can do it in our bedrooms. We can do it in the bathroom or anywhere, really. When we're with family, when we're at work, it doesn't matter where, the earth is there. And there's really not a separation unless we think there's a separation. Okay. All right. Any questions about anything that I've mentioned so far? Any comments before we go on to the next thing? No? Okay. And if you have any, go ahead, you can unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat. All right. So the living and dying body process that I mentioned earlier. So this is a taste of the awakening class where people learn the living and dying body process. We've already discussed a little bit of the prerequisites to really be able to run this body process. We have to say hi to our bodies and actually acknowledge that it exists instead of impelling an agenda on our bodies. That's one. Two, we say hi to the earth. Hey, earth, how's it going? It's just a matter of saying hi and actually greeting it and knowing, oh, you're here. Even if I can't see you, even if I'm not outside, you're here. Awesome. And then two, we're going to say hi to the body process itself, and we're going to start playing with that. Now, let me tell you a little bit about how this body process came about. I used to have chronic pain, and I was really, really sick on multiple levels. Like I would have chronic respiratory infections. I had a lot, just, I mean, any kind of upheaval from reproductive health stuff to respiratory things. I had a lot of allergies. I was allergic to the world. Like, I don't know if any of y'all can relate. If you have some allergies and like, yes, I get it. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. An asthma attack, panic attacks, anxiety, depression. I was on all different kinds of medication and I was doing my best. We're all just doing the best we can. And so it got to a point where the doctors were saying, hey, if you don't change something, you're going to get pneumonia and you're going to die. Because I was having sinus infections after sinus infections, bronchitis after bronchitis. It was just getting worse, even though I was taking medication year round, inhalers, nose spray, and then the anxiety and depression medication as well, because it was creating a lot of havoc. And so they were saying, okay, you need to change something. And I was like, I would love to, doc. I've been going to different specialists. I've been trying so many different things. Anything you tell me to do, I've tried and it's not working. What else can I do? So my mom connected me with a naturopathic doctor and they created a personalized treatment plan for me. And that doctor happened to also be a Reiki master. And that started my journey to playing around and learning a lot of different energetic tools. So I went from learning Reiki to learning about theta healing, access consciousness, tantra, shamanism, so many different things, different conscious card reading. And so I have all of this available to me in my repertoire, and I was giving private sessions and also giving speech and language therapy to kiddos and adults around the world. And so I kept these two things separate. I had my speech and language and learning business over here, and I had the energy work classes and business over there. And then people started asking me for what else they could do. A lot of the parents, a lot of the teachers, a lot of these people that were givers that we were talking about earlier, they were giving. And then they would be at the end of the day and they felt like a towel that had just been wrung out. They just didn't have any juice left. Maybe some of y'all can relate to that, or sometimes you get to the end of your day and you're just done, you're kaput. And yet for a lot of these people, that was their perpetual state, that they never really had a sense of joy. They never really had that deep breath where they could feel like they had some ease. And that's how I felt. And yet I started to feel a lot better with my personalized treatment plan and with some of these energetic works. And it just kept getting better and better and better. And every 2 to 3 months, I would check in and I would tweak something in the plan and I would get better and better. And finally, I got off of all the medication. I wasn't in pain anymore. I wasn't anxious and depressed anymore. I did the work. So I'm not going to lie and say that it wasn't work. It absolutely was. And it's priceless and it's beyond amazing that I'm even on this planet right now. I'm very grateful. And then one of the things that started to show up is as I was giving these different private sessions, there was these new energies showing up. And I was like, ooh, what's this? This is different. This is not this modality or that technique that I learned. This is some other kind of vibration. What's going on here? So I leaned into it and I asked, well, what do I know about this? And I asked my body and I asked the earth, and I co-created this with my body and the earth and these energies that started to come up that were being asked to be acknowledged. And I think for a lot of us, we have these awarenesses of different things that maybe you could uniquely create a body process or something that's never existed in the world. This is what showed up for me. And what happens with this is it unlocks anywhere in our bodies where we have held in sadness, where we have been aware of other people killing their bodies, or we've attempted to kill our bodies, be it through unconscious actions or actually being like suicidal or something like that. Where we've experienced abuse, we're aware of other people who've experienced abuse, where anywhere that we're aware of somebody's choices and we've locked it in our bodies, what this does is it unlocks it. And then we get to have more of what's true for us, this exuberant living, this clarity of what's available to us. And for each of us, it's a little bit different. And we get to have this greater enthusiasm for living, which is what I would really like to have more people in the world know, that it's possible to actually enjoy your lives and enjoy them with your bodies way, way, way more than maybe you've ever considered before. So we're going to play around with one of the first movements of the living and dying body process. And it's really easy. I promise you, it's going to be super easy for y'all to do this. I made this so that I have had like 3 and 5-year-olds learn how to do this. Okay. If they can do it, you can do it. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to ask some really key, simple questions as well to cue up anything that's in our way about what we're talking about. And then I'm going to show you some of the ways to clear it as well. So it's not, we're going to collect all this garbage and glop and glom and heaviness, and then we're just going to let it sit there. No, we don't want that. We want to be like, oh, hi, heaviness. And it's going to go now. I don't need it in my life anymore. Bye. Okay. Unless you want to keep it. I mean, that's a choice. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's absolutely a choice to keep it in your body and in your world if you'd like. So a couple of key things. So who do you know that is a giver, is a carer, is somebody that you go to for comfort? And I ask this to also include their energy, the energy of those people in your lives as we're doing this, because maybe our choices here today and what we move and play around with and clear can also contribute to those people. If there's been someone that's been really important in your life, that was someone that taught you something, somebody that raised you, and you'd like to include their energy on this, in this conversation, in this workshop, I invite you to do that right now, because we're all connected. Energy is everywhere. And so what if we actually played with the possibility that what we choose together today here could also contribute to our loved ones? That's one of the reasons that I really love this, because again, it wasn't about me or them, it's me and them. Okay. And so for you too, it's not you or them, it's you with them. Okay. So take a moment and do that and acknowledge who those people are that you'd like to include. Excellent. Maybe even some people that are suffering, that are in any kind of pain, mental, emotional, muscular, skeletal, physical. This has been very effective for people who have experienced abuse and rape and neglect, so much more. It doesn't have to be any of those things. There's just some couple examples. All right. Does everyone have at least one person that they can think of that they would like these energies to contribute to? And if you do, go ahead and say, I have it, or I do, in the chat. Let me move this. Okay. Excellent. I think that if you're here and you're thinking about communication and self-care, this is also part of it. We're learning how to communicate with our bodies more effectively, and how we can communicate with other people's bodies more effectively. If we're more in tune with ours, we actually can contribute and perceive when there is something off on somebody else's body. I can't tell you, and often all the sense, from the positive and the negative, from, oh, I think you're pregnant. And they're like, how did you know that? I haven't told anybody yet. To, hey, have you gotten checked up recently? I think there's something going on in your system. And they were like, I was just thinking that too, but I've been so busy. And I was like, you really need to prioritize that. And little did they know, as soon as they got checked, there was something that was a big thing that they could have totally missed, that would have escalated and gotten a lot bigger and been a problem. But because they went to the doctor and they followed your awareness, because you're telling them that it could actually help them in the future. So when we're in touch with our bodies, we can then use them to have our antennas, our spidey sense go off more effectively, and we can contribute to other people's bodies. All right, beautiful. So let's go ahead and start with this first hand movement. So this is as simple as there are 2 hands and we're going to cross them over each other in 2 spirals. And it doesn't matter which hand is in front, it could be the right or the left. And so we'll say hi to all the bodies. Hi, bodies. Hello. And hi, Earth. You can see how 3 to 5-year-olds would be able to do this, right? They're like, oh yeah, I'm just dancing. They can even add some attitude. I have some of my teenagers that are like, and I'm like, all right, honey, you do you. You're spiraling. And so what this is like one hand is living and one hand is dying. And you actually want to have both to create your life. Now, why would you want that? Well, living is all about what you add, who you add, places you add to create more. And then dying is what you let go of, who you let go of, the places you let go of, the stuff. Yeah, to create more. So when you bring them together, you actually have both, and it's going to create more. It's very different than what we've been told that living and dying is. I know, I'm a little different. And when you're doing this, you'll notice this. Now, we've been doing it. I've been doing it hands facing outward. Now, y'all put your palms facing toward you instead now. Now this is how you run it on yourself. Palms faces toward you. So it's like the energies are coming from the palms. It's actually coming from your palms and more places, but we'll get into that another time. All right, so this is how you run it on you. And you're like living and dying body process. Hello. And then I like to ask, where am I living? Where am I dying? Where am I living? Where am I dying? And then how I like to clear that afterwards is everything that brought up, because you notice like you probably perceived a difference in like a weight or like a change in your breathing as soon as we ask that. That's all the stuff that we just queued up. It's like, what's this? All right, where am I doing this or not? Like, is this really working for me? So the stuff that's not working for you, that is in the way of you having true living and dying, that's what just got brought up. And then we go ahead and we transmute it down to pure energy and expand out, expand out, expand out. I'm putting in the chat for you all. So transmute it down to pure energy and expand out, expand out, expand out. And so what that does is it's changing all of that density, the solid, the heavy, the fears, the doubt into energy. So then all of a sudden you have like all the space instead of that, the boulders. And then we want to expand out afterwards so that we have more ease with all of this information that comes in. Because that's the idea, is you're going to get information about your unique gifts and capacities. You're going to be getting information about what choices you should do next to create your life. Should you keep this person around? Should you go in and take that job? Should you move or not? The yeses and nos become clearer and clearer. Is now the time? Those kinds of things. All right. How are your bodies feeling right now? I see that there's some connection in and out. Can you hear me still, Richard? There you go. Okay. All right. Remember, make sure it cross. Some people start getting like this. No, they really need to cross over each other. And now go ahead and flip it out again and notice the difference. So now we're going to contribute to each other. This is what I love to do. So the classes we have them available virtually and in person. And when it's virtual, this is part of what we're doing. We're practicing running it on each other. When we're giving a session, we have it out. When we practice running it on ourselves, we have it facing in. And you can perceive the difference. I'm going to go back to giving it to y'all. But you can choose if you'd like to be running it on yourself or somebody else. And what you're doing is now go ahead and scan your body. And you might notice that your body might want you to do this top part. It might be around your abdomen instead, your knees, your feet. So now play around a little bit for the next minute or so. Go ahead and continue to do the 2-hand spiral where your body's asking for this energy. All right. And anything that doesn't allow this to be clear for you, your way, with infinite ease, let's go ahead and let all that go. Transmute it down to pure energy. Excuse me. And expand out, expand out, expand out. Yes. So there are 4 more hand movements. All of them have different questions to them. Even this first one have about 6 other questions we can ask with it. But I wanted you to at least have the where are you living, where are you dying, and I'll put that in the chat for y'all if you'd like as well. You ask that, the energy of it comes up, whatever is like, well, not so much, so great. And then you transmute it down to pure energy and expand out, expand out, expand out. And you can apply it to all those areas earlier. You can be like, okay, where am I living in relationships? Where am I dying in relationships? Where am I living with business? Where am I dying with business? Where am I living with friends? Where am I dying with friends? So that you can actually have true living, what's going to create more, and true dying, what's going to create more. They're both what's going to create more for you to have a really fun life, for you to enjoy all aspects of your life more. All right. Let's give it another couple of seconds. And then when you're ready, I'm going to make some announcements, share some other additional steps with you, answer questions. I'll be here if you'd like to stick around for a little bit. But one of the things that you can see how these simple movements, when this could be really effective for people who've experienced abuse and rape and neglect, because what a lot of people want them to do is relive that and be re-traumatized. We don't have to talk about what happened. We don't even have to recall what happened. For some of the people that have come to me, they don't even remember the details of it. They just know it happened. Maybe they were drugged, maybe they were unconscious, maybe they were little kids, and yet they want to have more ease. They know it's impacting them and they would like to have that unlocked from their body. Great. I'm glad you were able to pick up that your abdomen needed more attention, and now you can do that. And then keep going. So you keep going and then you ask body, am I done? Is it done with this one? And as soon as you get, yes, it's done, then you would go to the next hand movement. All right. So I run it and run it and run it. And sometimes it's like 25 minutes of just this one, because a full session's anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes. But this first one is so big, it's so important, because a lot of people aren't willing to be aware of how they're aware of living and how they're aware of dying and where they've locked it in their body. So you find all these places where you lock and lock and lock, and then these other movements can then start doing the awakening part and getting clearer on things and healing different things, shifting things so that you can have a different possibility. It's pretty awesome. All right, awesome. So did y'all like that? Were you able to perceive the energy? If you could perceive the energy, go ahead and say in the chat, yes, I could. Perhaps for some of you, it might be that you need to play around with it a little bit more. Remember, give the squeezes to connect with your body so that you're out of your head. Ramp up the energy too from the earth or from other bodies so that you have it louder and clear. This is also a really great way to add more oomph to your sessions when you're running it on yourself, if you'd like it to be even more dynamic. Great, great. So a couple of options. Who is interested in learning these additional hand movements? They're all really simple as well. You get the manual, you get some additional tools, you get facilitation. If you're interested in that, I can tell you about that as well. We have 2 classes scheduled right now that are coming up. The next one is in Indianapolis, and it's available in person in Indianapolis on July 16th. And that's a Saturday. And also available through online streaming. It's great if you can have a partner in the same physical space as you to give and receive with. But for those that take it online, we also will pair you up and teach you how to do it virtually with the other people. Because as you were able to experience today, we can perceive these energies and receive them even over a physical distance. Distance isn't really a deterrent for energy. Energy is everywhere. The other class, in addition to the July one, is Friday, September 23rd. So we have one this upcoming month, July, and then September 23rd. They're both 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, which is New York time zone. New York City. That's the time zone that I live in. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I know y'all are connecting from all over the world. That's so cool. And so that's part of why we have it available virtually. We started the classes all virtually, and now we're able to do them more and more in person again. And this started when a lot of people were really suicidal and they were really depressed and feeling very hopeless with all of the quarantining and all of the upheaval in so many different ways, from the riots and the violence and shootings and things like that. And so this was giving people a way that even if they couldn't be in the same physical space with people, they could feel connected more to themselves and to each other. So I'm very grateful to be able to contribute that. So those are the awakening classes, and the information for that, you're going to get that in the replay email. But if you'd like to start looking at it right now, it's at empoweringlightlanguage.com/living-and-dying. That's my website, empoweringlightlanguage.com. And that is the general website, and then living-and-dying is right afterwards to get that information. There are some really cool ebooks available as well that are free, and some of them that are like, $7 to $10, no big deal, from business, of how you can use this for business to relationships. There is a great ebook called 5 Questions to Ask to Stop Self-Sabotage in Relationships. So you can use these tools in this greater connection with your body in any area of your life. And I also offer coaching sessions, and I always start with a consultation because I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm very picky as to who I work with. So if you're interested in a coaching session, you can check out this link at this Calendly link to book that. It's a 45-minute session for $50. The $50 more than anything is just to make sure you show up. I've learned that when people have consultations for free, they'll like not be busy or forget their appointments and they don't show up, and I'm there waiting, and I value your time, so please value my time. And then you'll get some tools right away, personalized and tailored to you, so that you can get something that works for you. And then I may mention some other additional options at the end. So I'll give you the links and information to the ebooks in the replay email. But one of them is what elements of living would like to create with you today. That's a fun one. Being a different possibility for children, for those of you who have children or work with children and families. Top 5 limiting beliefs that destroy business, for those of you that are into business and are entrepreneurs. And 10 conscious actions for exuberant joy with breakups, for those of you that may still be struggling with breakups or considering a breakup and are wondering to stay or go. Do I add this person on? Do I let them go? The living and dying of that. Okay. So all this information, you don't have to remember any of this. You can also email me at any given moment at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. That's what I was used to saying, and I almost slipped up and said earlier with the website. Y'all know how to reach me. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. I'm really, really glad that we got to connect today. And please, please, please practice using this tool. It's a great way to start your day, to end your day, to have on the lunch break. Anytime your body is needing a little bit more ease and clarity, please go ahead and play around with this and use it, and keep me posted on what shows up for you. Until next time, enjoy yourself and be on the lookout for upcoming Tastes of Awakening workshops. Each one has a different theme, and check out the awakening classes coming up. I'd love to be able to contribute to you further. Until then, bye for now.